With that done and out of the way. Hello, everybody. Prepare yourselves because we're about to take it to the mic stand. So, as you guys, well, I guess Anonymity, you're the only one here right now, but as you know, this is Friday night, the Friday Night Forum, which means I open up the studio for anybody who wishes to come in to hang out and talk, neat stuff. So, as well as go over whatever articles I may have found. Um, So we'll wait a couple minutes to see who else shows up. See if anybody will show up into the studio. Since I put the link to the studio out already. Um, let's see. Yeah, so of course I was hanging out over on Tug Stream for the last couple hours or so. Hanging out. So I'll probably talk a little bit about some of the stuff I brought up there about like classic comic stuff. Um, also, let's see. So just to kind of recap everybody on, of course, the conversations. Hey, stopping in to say what's up. Looks like I'll be working late again. Well, thank you for dropping in there, Anonymity. Um, as I said there, and then again, and I see that we have a third person just came in. As I recall, I know Anonymity is one of them. The other person, I have the link up if you'd like to join me in the studio tonight. You know, to become part of the show, be part of the conversation. Um, I always look forward to conversing with you guys. It's nice to have people actually in the studio to verbalize stuff back and forth. So hopefully you'll take the opportunity to come in and be part of the conversation. Gonna wait, of course, a few minutes here to see if we can get some more people in. So we got three people so far. So hopefully we'll get some more in. I'm guessing that third person at the moment is choosing to lurk, which is fine. Um, I'll be back in a moment here. I just gotta go check something real quick. All right, still three people. So let's see. Just past 4 minutes here. Oh, hey, ATC. My headset is KIA. Um, well, I mean, you could still come on, can't you? Or are you worried that or are you worried that because of some of the stuff we may say that might not be good to have your kids within earshot or something like that? Is that what you're a little bit worried about, ATC? And look, I don't even use a headset when I'm doing this, so um Yeah. All right. Well, I kind of understand. I mean, it's a little disappointing because obviously, I like having the back and forth. So, I mean, um, I guess if I had to just have you just type in your responses, that's fine too. Um, yeah. Well, hopefully you get a new headset soon so that, you can part of the, they can verbalize more. We're up to 6 minutes now. And I'll periodically put the link up just in the event somebody, people start coming in. Maybe somebody will want to like just kind of join in the conversation. In fact, I'll do that right now. In fact, there you go. Anybody who wants to join me in studio can. There's a link to it. Let's see. Well, so ATC, how's everything else going then? We got a fourth person in here. Hello, fourth person. As you may notice, fourth person, we there's a link in there if you'd like to join me in the studio tonight. Be part of the conversation. Um, you're more than welcome to join me. Head back to what I just asked. ATC, how's your day going? Aside from what we, oh, I guess they left again. Oh, poo. Came in and they ran right out. Uh, that kind of disappointing, but excuse me a moment while I go off screen here for a moment. And I know there might be a couple people who might come over from Tug Stream for all I know. I know some of them. Oh, there's something. Slept the day away, just haven't been feeling it. What, you've been running a little low on energy there, ATC? Oh, we have the fourth person's back. You've been running a little. Oh, there we go. Yeah, stressing out over. Oh, yeah. Well, yeah, that's right. Because I know you've had a number of things. Your wife was, I guess, going in for an examination. You guys were thinking she might have cancer. I know you also said that your brother was welcoming a child in this world. How's all that going? And of course, a reminder to everybody that, of course, I did put the link to the studio up if you'd like to join me in studio to be part of the show for for tonight. See, we're already past the 10-minute mark. I should probably just waiting to see if ATC responds here, and then I'll talk about what's on tap for tonight. And then we'll keep going a bit here. There we go. She went in. They did tests. Said they call her today by 6 p.m. They did. She called them. They said they'd call her tomorrow by 3 p.m. And sister-in-law is fine, and nothing but drama. All right. Well, yeah. Sometimes doctors can be a bit of a pain sometimes, but well, I hope everything's okay with your wife. Hopefully everything works out. Hopefully she doesn't have cancer, and you guys don't have to go through all that. But all right. Well, with all that being said, then, as I said, I will periodically put the link up. Just in case people would like to join me in the studio to be part of the conversation. Um, so, anyways, so I'll let you all know now what's on tap for tonight. So there was one interesting story that came out today that I found on Bounding into Comics. They finally got around, of course, to reporting how Monica Rial had gotten the role of Uzaki and Uzaki-chan for the dub. Um, but of course, I reported on that yesterday. So what I'm not gonna so I wasn't gonna go through that again. Um, let's see. I did find an article regarding Greg Rucka's, or I think it's Rucka, but according to Tug, it's Rucka, Greg Rucka's son, Batman writer, about him getting arrested in New York because he was apparently a part of BLM riots. Casting couch. Well, I think you heard some of my commentary yesterday. You know, even if the whole thing with Vic wasn't going on or anything like that, she still has the voice for that character. So, if you can get past all the drama and the garbage, um, but anyways, as I was saying though, on tap for today, of course, I'm going to go over the article regarding Greg Rucka's son. Um, Also, maybe do some niche talk. Just thinking about some stuff from earlier. What I was trying to lead Tug down. Talking about some classic stuff, and then of course in each day, this day in each history, and then we'll of course, hey Woody, how you doing, man? Let's see what you got to say here. Tug's mods just timed me out for no good reason. Good thing because I had forgotten about your stream. Well, I'm glad you came here, Woody. um, I'm glad you came here. Um, so hey Woody, I don't know if you noticed, but I have the link to the studio up. If you would like to join me. Tug had just repeated my last two posts, and they timed me out for posting a smiley face after that. Hey Woody. All right. Well, Woody, you may have noticed, and I'll put it up again. Wait. Um, as you know, this is Friday night, and as I usually will do, if I can't get guests on, I will usually invite you guys to join me on stream if you would like to be able to join in the conversation and stuff like that. So if you would like to join me in the studio, you're more than welcome to. I just put the link in there, so you should get it pretty quickly there. Let's see. Let's see. Okay. Nice to feel welcome. Of course. I mean, it's like I obviously want to bring more people in. I want to have some good conversations on stuff. You know, I, you know, that's why I want to obviously be able to have guests every, once a week on Fridays to kind of get a good conversation going, get people talking. Um, you know, I know like over the past few months and stuff, Tug's been covering more mainstream media stuff, but also more darker. Flash has been kind of doing the same thing, so it's good to just come in and just hang out and talk. Yeah, do some news. Do some like news, like release information, stuff like that. But you know, I was one of Tug's first 1,000. Hmm, yeah. Well, yeah, and yeah, Tug's a pretty cool guy. I mean, I like Tug. That's why I've been trying so hard to get him to come onto my channel because I'd love to be able to I'd love to have like get him and Flash and here hey all in here all at the same either all at the same time or in any combination of the as well as others obviously. But get some of these people in here and just hang out and maybe go over some basic news like release stuff, um, some news items, but also just hang out and talk, talk comics, talk, you know. I came into all this via EVS, Ricada, Vic, Anime, Mike. Yeah. Well, I mean, I know you just I know you just kind of started coming over to my streams more, and I appreciate that. Um, As I said, if you noticed, I did put the link to the studio up if you would like to come in and join me in on the conversation. Um, but yeah, just kind of good to just get together and hang out. Not always talk about like some of the darker stuff or some of the more some of the nastier stuff that happens in the world. I mean, we got enough people talking about like Amber Heard, the whole Amber Heard and Johnny Depp story. We have enough people dealing with KV, on a constant basis. I don't need to continue giving them any attention, um, any unnecessary attention. I mean, once in a while, like we did yesterday, we can sit there and like laugh at them, but other than that, there's a lot of other stuff out there to talk about that's pretty cool. When you get into it. I am a longtime pro wrestling fan, so be warned. Well, I am too. I mean, now, grant I know not everybody is. Some people are, some people aren't. You know, as I've mentioned before, um, I cover a number of niche topics, including anime, cartoons, comics, manga, and pro wrestling. And that can give you a nice sound base for stuff to talk about. Especially when you're talking about stuff from the past. Let's see what ATC has to say. Uh, That would be cool, Woody. Yeah. So yeah. So okay. So wow, we're past 20-minute mark now. Just just getting in and just getting comfortable and just hanging out and chatting. That's cool. All right. Well, I think we got at least a few people in here now, so I think I'm going to go ahead and move on to the lone article of the night. Lone article I'll be going over for the night here. Yeah, this week has seemingly been a pretty slow news week on the niche front. Not a whole lot. I mean, like I think the other day when I had the Shira story, of course, um, I found another one there. Even though the other Shira so went in with three stories to talk about, but ended up with four. So that ended up being a pretty good experience there. So with that, let's go ahead and get into the one news item tonight, the one article that I was able to find for tonight. And this one's kind of an interesting little tidbit here. The one here to the left here. Click that on to where because we'd already talked about. Oh yeah, and guys, don't forget DC Fandom is going on this weekend too. Um, tomorrow, I think it goes from tomorrow 10 a.m. to Sunday 10 a.m. online. So you guys, and I know we talked about the other day that they were doing um, that radio show reenactment of Superman. So okay, so here's the story. Here's the one story that came out today. That I was able to find the one news story. Son of Batman scribe, aka writer, Greg Rucka, arrested after Black Lives Matter riot in New York. Now, again, I'm not trying to cover a whole lot of major political stuff, BLM or anything like that, but considering this is somewhat connected to the comic scene, and I know when I brought it up to Tug earlier on his stream, he was even saying that he had a few interesting things to say about Greg Rucka. So let's go ahead and take a look here at this article. The son of best-selling comic book writer Greg Rucka is among a group of protesters that were arrested in connection to a riot that broke out after a New York Black Lives Matter protest. New York Post has reported that Rucka's 20-year-old son, Elliot Rucka, um, was among 8 people arrested in Soho after a September 4th Black Lives Matter protest devolved into a full-blown riot. September 4th. So basically, that was 1 week ago. So basically, while we were all having fun talking anime and talking comics and stuff, these clowns were doing stupid things. These clowns are doing while we were here talking about fun stuff. These clowns were doing stupid things. This Elliot Rucka and a few other people here. So let's continue on here. The riot, which followed a protest organized by the New African Black Panther movement and the Revolutionary Abolitionist movement. Okay, what? Okay, they're not slaves anymore. So what are they trying to abolish? Well, I guess guess they're trying to abolish the United States government or the United States, I guess. Resulted in widespread damages to businesses from Foley Square up to 24th Street. including Starbucks and a Dwayne Reed, whatever Dwayne Reed is. I think they even showed the picture. See, there's a Starbucks, I guess, that they pretty much destroyed. Probably broke some windows. And look at that graffiti. And then I guess here's a here's a tweet from reporter Andy. I don't know if it's pronounced Go or Nyo or something like that. As I recall, I think this is a guy who got beat up. This is a reporter who got beat up in Portland a few months back. Um, so here's what Andy had to say in a tweet here. Elliot Rucka, 20, of Portland, Oregon, was charged with felony riot in the Manhattan BLM Antifa rampage last week. He's the son of well-to-do New York Times best-selling comic book author. Oh wait, okay. I think he should have either wrote Greg Rucka or he's the son of a well-to-do New York Times best-selling comic. Um, Again, it could be the character limit or what have you, but that's a bit of a grammar error right there. But anyways, as the son of comic book authors Greg Rucka of 52, Batman, The Punisher, Wonder Woman, and Jen Van Meter, Amazing Spider-Man Presents Black Cat, Hopeless Savages, the New York Post likened Elliot to the numerous protesters who have been discovered to come from elite backgrounds. Yeah, I mean, and I know some people have talked about this too. A lot of these people who are now coming out and claiming to be protesting, you know, for Black Lives Matter, they're not even black. First off, they're not from. They're not some. They're not even anywhere close to some suppressed class, other than the fact that they're young and dumb. Okay, they're just a bunch of spoiled rich kids who just are so bored with their lives. They feel that the only way to give any meaning to the lives is to cause property because they know that they can get away with it because their mommies and daddies will get them out of jail for them. It's like, come on, you dip dipwads. Anyways, such protesters include wealthy ups. Look at this. Such protesters include wealthy Upper East Sider Clara Kraber, I guess how you might pronounce that. The 20-year-old daughter, again, see, 21-year-old Elliot Rucka, 20-year-old Clara Kraber. I mean, 21-year-old daughter of an architect and a child psychiatrist who was arrested alongside Elliot. Oh boy, this young girl is the daughter of a child psychiatrist. I wonder what I don't know if that's the mother who's the child psychiatrist or the father is a child psychiatrist, but I wonder what they're thinking of their daughter's mental health right now. Anyways, a law enforcement source observed to the New York Post that Kraber's involvement was the height of hypocrisy. Yeah, I think a lot of people would agree with that notion. And it looks like somebody may have left us. Poop. Ah, yeah, so I guess you guys still don't have much to say right now on this, but um, let's see. Oh, here we go. This is, I guess, the comment from the law enforcement source. This girl should be the poster child for white privilege. Growing up on the Upper East Side and another home in Connecticut. The source stated, I wonder how her rich parents feel about their daughter. Um, how would they feel if they graffitied their townhouse? Yeah, I would. Again, I'd be in total agreement with that sentiment. Um, Another individual from an elite background to be arrested in connection to the ongoing Black Lives Matter related riots was, I don't know if it's not Lowy or Lowry Malkovich, son of famed actor John Malkovich. See, if if anybody here still believes that Black Lives Matter is a matter of peacefully protesting, um, police brutality, then you have no brains. Okay, Black Lives Matter, as well as Antifa, is nothing more than an insurrectionist movement meant to try to destroy America from within. Okay, it's not about seeking justice. It's not about bringing light to police brutality. It's trying to destroy the country from within. Everybody involved with Antifa and Black Lives Matter should be arrested, tried, convicted, and executed for treason. That is my opinion. They are nothing more than an insurrectionist movement and should be treated accordingly. That's my opinion on the matter. And usually I don't. The protests are first world problems. Well, yeah, it's basically ATC with the protest. Again, they make the point here in the article too. It's these it's these elitists who think they know better. You know, it's the whole like rules for thee, but not for me. Um, it's the height of hypocrisy. It's like these are a bunch of spoiled rich kids who are bored, who who had whispers in their ears from their parents and from and from the leftist media who basically want to bring America down. Having your daughter arrested because she feels guilty about being brought up rich should be the plot of new Oscar worthy sequel being John Malkovich's daughter. Um, I don't know. Is Lowy or Lowry? How are you pronouncing it? Is that even? No, Lowry Malkovich is actually his son, not his daughter. The daughter was the one who had the architect and child psychiatrist, Clara Kraber. Clara Kraber was the girl they talked about. Lowry Malkovich is actually John Malkovich's son. So I think it's more like being John Malkovich's son would be the title of that movie there, Woody. Anyways, moving on with the article. The Ruckas currently reside in Portland, a city going through its own period of upheaval due to similar protests, and share their home with their children, um, Elliot and Dashi. Yeah, and this is a point when I brought this to Tug's attention earlier. He was saying how these people are destroying their own communities, and I had to tell him, well, no, this Elliot didn't even get arrested in his own community. He got arrested in New York, okay, because he lives in Portland. You know, which again just goes to show you that this is an astroturf movement as well. Bro, part, bro, uh, Joe, pardon me for not knowing his royal title. It's okay, Woody. Uh, it's okay. You know, just trying to make things as accurate as possible. You're cool. Um, it is currently unknown why Rucka was in New York at the time of the riot. What is your opinion on Elliot Rucka's arrest? What would you consider his background to be elite? Let us know on social media. All right, guys. Well, let's throw that out there. What do you guys think of him being there? Let's see, what was um oh, okay. What is your opinion of his arrest actually? So, you guys have anything you want to share on Elliot Rucka's arrest? Excuse me a moment. You guys have anything to say on Elliot Rucka's arrest? I mean, I've already given pretty much my opinion on that and on the whole Black Lives Matter movement as well. So, oh, apparently, you know that "Stop Resisting" meme. Yeah, actually, I don't know. I don't think I've seen that one before, but I'll take your word for it though. There, ATC. You know that "Stop Resisting" meme? Yeah, that. Laugh out. Yeah. Oh, there we go. Hey, Woody. He's just trying to get along. They really don't value truth as opposed to being like the other fish in the school. Yeah, I'd have to kind of agree with that, Woody, because it's like, you know, as we know, the majority of the mainstream media, not everybody. I mean, there are obviously those who, like Fox News, Newsmax, on the news part of it, and there are some actors in Hollywood, like James Woods, like Clint Eastwood, like Scott Baio, Ted Nugent, who do tend to lean to the right. But for the most part, most of mainstream media in Hollywood are do lean to the left, and it's fun. It's funny how they like to sit there and call and make call President Trump and make comparisons of Trump to Adolf Hitler, when from an ideological standpoint they're actually more in line with Adolf Hitler than he is. So um, that just goes to show you, though, the level of their own ignorance on the matter. Uh, but yeah, so yeah, it looks like there's not much more to get into other than that. That just another spoiled rich kid, just bored with his life, and just doing what he thinks that he's supposed to do because he got brought up you know the wrong way. So obviously wasn't taken to the woodshed enough times, if at all. So, anyways, okay. So, with that article out of the way, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to talk about some other some more historical stuff because you know I kind of mentioned this to Tug earlier. Like one of the things I noticed about Tug's avatar now is that he's going with the Uncle Sam look, right? With the whole top hat and all that. Um, I don't know if you guys knew this, but Uncle Sam was a comic book character that was originally in Quality Comics. He debuted cover date April May 1960. Actually, I think it was actually 1941. I don't even know why they said 61. It was actually 41. I kind of messed that up, but it was I think no, actually it was 1940. It was oh wait oh now I remember what I was thinking there. I was thinking I was getting that confused with the haunted tank thing I was mentioning to Tug. Uh, that's what happens when your mind goes 1,000 miles an hour. Hey, I'm driving home. I'll be listening. Okay, anonymity. Glad you're listening in. Um, yeah, actually, as I recall, Uncle Sam made his comics debut cover date June of 1940 in National Comics for Quality Comics. Um, you know, I think it was like April. I think it was like April the 8th or something, the 3rd or something, 1940. Um, Now, Quality Comics was their own company back in the 40s, and they basically ran from like the late 30s. Um, I think some of their earliest comics started in like 1937. They ran well into the 50s. Some of their titles included like Feature Funnies, which eventually became Feature Comics, National Comics, Smash Comics, Crack Comics, uh, military comics, which eventually became modern comics. And a number of their when they ended up going broke in the 40s, there, a number of their characters were actually picked up by DC, and there they became part of the multiverse as the Earth Quality, basically. And this included the heroes that made up the team known as the Freedom Fighters. This was like Uncle Sam, Doll Man, which was Quality's version of the Atom, of course. Black Condor, Phantom Lady, Plastic. DC got Plastic Man from Quality. Um, Beret, Red Torpedo, Alias the Spider, um, the Blackhawks. They got the Blackhawks from Quality Comics. They got and some of the titles that they had actually picked up from Quality included like GI Combat, which is the other one I was thinking about earlier. The one that had the haunted tank in it. I think Amazing Love Stories was another title picked up from them. But yeah, um, so yeah, a lot of the, I don't know if you guys had read, some of the DC titles like Freedom Fighters, with Uncle Sam, Dollman, and all those characters. But they actually acquired those characters from Quality after Quality went bankrupt in the 50s. There are a number of characters that we know nowadays that were picked up from other companies. Um, Billy Batson, Captain Marvel, he was picked up from Fawcett Comics. You know, Fawcett Comics, which came into being in 1940, with Wiz Comics in February of that year. I think their cover date in February. But but we got from Fawcett Comics characters that included the Marvel family, which was and this is the Batsons basically. Billy Batson's Captain Marvel, as well as Captain Marvel Jr. And Mary Marvel, Bullet Man. Let's see, Ibis the Invincible. Let's see, I know his real name was Alan Armstrong, but I don't try. Oh, Spy Smasher, Spy Smasher, um, Mr. Scarlet and Pinky. Um, Now the interesting thing about Mr. Scarlet and Pinky too, they were like the poor man's version of Batman and Robin. Okay, um, Mr. Scarlet in his alter ego was public defense attorney Brian Butler. And of course, he had an adopted son of Pinky Butler. They were in essence the poor man's version of Batman and Robin that ran in Fawcett Comics in the 40s. Okay, they were part of a superhero team in Fawcett known as, let's see, another one was Minuteman, who was another like patriotic themed hero. Um, he was also another major star. I don't know if DC had picked him up as much, but yeah. So you had those characters being picked up, and they made up the multiverse universe of Earth S. I guess S for Shazam. So um, that was that. Earth 4 was comprised of heroes they picked up from Charlton Comics, which included, of course, Captain Atom, The Question, Blue Beetle. Um, let's see, Nightshade, Thunderbolt. Um, who else? There was Judo Master. Those characters were picked up from Charlton Comics. Charlton became real big in the 60s, 60s, 70s, 80s. Aside from, of course, the superhero comics they would put out, they also did a lot of Hanna-Barbera comics as well in that time frame. So like, um, so that was aside from, of course, Dell and Goldkey also doing some of the comics in the 60s as well. So, you guys have anything to add to what I just mentioned about the comics? Yeah, I understand ATC is probably not feeling up much for talking because I know said he's been pretty tired of late. It's understandable. And Nimity is on his way home, and I don't know what's up with Woody. I could understand Woody's fatigue too, because I know he was. I think I saw him on Tug Stream earlier too. So he mentioned he was on Tug Stream earlier. So um, and of course, if you guys want to join in the chat with me too. Let me go ahead and put that up as well. If you guys would like to join me in the chat to further talk about stuff, here's the link. You guys would like to join me in the studio. Oh, we have 5 people in here now. Hello, fifth person. You just arrived just in time. I just put up the link again. If you'd like to join me in the studio, you're more than welcome to. You have a lot of interesting knowledge about the period, all these details about small comics houses, bought out, etc. Well, yeah, I mean, you know, when you look back on stuff, those are ones I'm not too familiar with. Well, yeah, I understand that anonymity because I mean, you know, that's one of the things about me too is that so I told you guys too before. I grew up watching the Super Friends, and I got really into like DC Comics through that, and then of course I want to look back in time. There are a lot of interesting things, but you go back and you look, even just looking at the synopses like I do, um, even looking at the synopses like I do, you still get kind of an interesting peek into how things were back then. Uncle Sam, used in comics, was later used as an icon for signing up for the military. Well, yeah, well, Uncle Sam, the icon that you're talking about, I think it's actually been around since World War One. They did use him for a lot. Now, the Uncle Sam that Quality Comics used, he had a lot of your basic, in other words, enhanced strength, enhanced speed. You know, obviously extreme. You know, you know, obviously an extensive knowledge of like military tactics and all that. Um, he was, of course, powered by the American spirit, by people's spirit of patriotism. Um, so that was Uncle Sam's stick. Um, so there were, but even we talk a lot about how today in today's world how a lot of these comic book artists are are really trying to push agendas and really putting their own political narratives in the comic. I mean, that's always happened though. I mean, I can tell you this for a fact that going back in the 40s, they did that too. It just wasn't always as pronounced as it is now. Wasn't quite as over the top. I mean, I'll put it this way: Franklin Delano Roosevelt, FDR, was in the 40s during his presidency, even in the late 30s, I think as early as 38, 39. You know, was a constant, was a constant um, guest guest star in a number of comics. In fact, in DC lore, in DC Golden Age lore, it was FDR who commissioned Tex Thompson to become the Americommando. At a time, Tex Thompson was a character who went through. He basically he was one of the he was like the third feature um, in in Action Comics. He debuted alongside Superman and Zatara in Action Comics #1. He had three different periods within that comic. His first period was just him as like a plainclothes, you know, kind of philanthropist slash playboy type adventurer. You know, um, and then he became Mr. America with like a bull rope and a patriotic costume, and then eventually he would become Americommando. Um, he was commissioned by um, FDR to go over to Europe and and help out the troops, in an undercover manner. He was like he'd serve partly as he'd be sent on some of the like black ops type missions as Americommando, or he'd have to infiltrate a Nazi camp or something like that. So Uncle Sam would have no power today. Uh, yeah, I unfortunately, I'd have to kind of agree with you. I think he'd have minimal power. He wouldn't be as strong as he because there are parts of the country like in the Midwest, some parts of the South that, and even in the heartland that still are fairly patriotic. Okay, it's more in places like where I live here in California, where that sense of patriotism is very low. So, um, oh yeah. Of course, it doesn't help that a lot of the swamp creatures in DC, you know, kill off a lot of that too by acting the way they do. And why that's really more why a lot of like the mainstream media and the establishment on both sides have been going after Donald Trump because he, if anything, he's out to clear out that swamp, and they don't like it. So, yeah. So, and some people would even, and I can even tell you, even back in the 40s, there were some sketchy, you know, like let's just say that particularly in quality comics, a lot of the stories did, let's just say they broke the Constitution on a number of occasions. I remember there was this one character in Quality Comics, the Clock. Okay, this guy was again no superpowers, just ordinary guy who wore a business suit and a fedora and wore like a clock themed mask on his face and would leave his calling cards, much like Batman earlier on in his existence. He didn't always have the best relationship with the police department, but this guy, the Clock, had a torture chamber in his um in his basement in which he'd bring some of the criminals he would capture to it to get confessions from. So yeah, so some interesting stuff. Just got home, about to make some food. Uncle Sam was more of an icon for our older great generation. I love the concept. Yeah. I mean, you look back at a lot of those golden age and silver age stories. Now, granted, a lot of people would be critical of the silver age stories because that was also during the period of the Comics Code Authority when they were toning down a lot of content, because trying to keep it kid friendly and all that. But a lot of the storytelling back then was good, and they weren't always pushing agendas like they do today. Okay, we got a couple other things. Clock sounds just like Tug. Yeah, I could see some similarities there. Um, actually, maybe next time I get a chance to tell him, maybe I'll tell him about the clock. Um, Trump about to have a hit put on him for congressional term limits. Trump about to have a hit put on him for, you mean for endorsing congressional term limits, anonymity? Oh, wow, looks like we have six people in here now. Hello, sixth person. Um, well, now that we have another person in here, yeah, let me do this as well. Just remind everybody once again, if there's anybody who would like to join me in the studio to chat it up, to be part of the part of the stream, verbally be part of the stream. Um, the link, I just put the link up to the studio again. You're more than welcome to join me in studio. We can talk about comics and other things. So there y'all go. Um, let's see now. Yeah, I know I haven't like really talked in depth about some of the older comic comics back, back there in the golden age and silver age. So I figured, especially with this week being kind of a slow week on the niche news front, might as well, yeah, part of his plan is to put term limits. Well, okay, Trump himself cannot do that. That it has to be a law, or it has to get passed by, you know, I think it's like by it has it has to become an amendment to the Constitution and then get passed out. It either has to get passed as a law, but even laws can be changed. More than likely would have to be done through the amendment process there, and but there have been a lot of there have been a few conservatives out there who've been calling for term limits. I know Ted Cruz was one at one time calling for congressional term limits as well. So um, um so what is silver and golden age? Okay, when I or anybody else refers to like the golden age of comics or the silver age of comics, they're talking about specific periods of time. So basically, what it is the golden age. When somebody mentions the golden age of comics, that's a period of time from the 1930s to like the 1950s. Okay. And then the silver age of comics is would 60s to the 1980s. Okay. Bronze age might be considered 90s and 2000s. And then modern age would be considered anything like 2010 to now. So when people say like golden age or silver age or even bronze age or modern age, they're basically talking about like specific periods of time within comics history. So when I say golden age, as I said, it's like basically the period from the 1930s to the 1950s. Silver age is like the 1960s to the 1980s. Bronze age might be the 90s and the 2000s, and then the modern age would be like 2010s to present. So just so you have a better understanding of that. Oh, I thought silver was the earlier. No, gold. Um, like I'm sure everybody here has heard of the terms like golden anniversary and silver anniversary, right? So the golden anniversary is usually the 50-year anniversary. Okay. Silver anniversary is usually the 25-year anniversary. So it's kind of like that concept. Hey, Mike, I'm getting a lot of buffering. Going to refresh and see that helps. Okay. I understand. Hopefully everything's working out. Seems better so far. Okay. All right. So have you guys enjoyed learning more about like comics history a little bit tonight? With me explaining like things like about talking about the golden age and silver age of comics. Have you guys been enjoying that? And while I wait for your answer, I'm going to step off screen for a moment. I hope you guys have been enjoying. Oh, we're losing people, huh? Hoping there aren't too many problems there for you guys. The connection aspect of it. I always enjoy learning the history. Well, I'm glad you do. And I guess that's one of the things that makes my channel a little bit more unique is that I focus more on looking to the past and trying to, bring light to the past, and not get so wrapped up in the present. Maybe you guys might go out and either try to, look up at the very least the synopses, if not the comics themselves, to read them. You guys want to do that. Because again, those stories in the past are some pretty good stories too. Um, you know, and what one of the other things that makes, particularly from the Golden Age in particular, the Golden Age set of like, I know most of you when you hear like action comics and detective comics, you think you think with action, you think Superman; with detective, you think Batman. At this point in history, action and detective comics are feature comics. In other words, they feature only one character. But when they started out, they were anthologies. Action Comics was an anthology that featured 7 features. The 3 biggest features in it when it debuted back in 1938 were Superman, Zatara, and Tex Thompson. Detective Comics was another anthology that featured 7 features, 6 or 7 features, mostly, and Detective Comics was pretty much that. The characters in it were detectives or spies, which included Crimson. Well, let's see. I think Crimson Adventure. He might have actually came a little later, but I know Slam Bradley was was one of the major features in there early on, as well as Speed Saunders, part of the government patrol. But let's see. There's a number. You guys have made a number of comments here. So let's see what. Like I tell people, Mike has the info. Yeah, I always. The connection problem is the YouTube app or anything but a mobile running, or the stream is fine. Okay. Or anything but a mobile running the YouTube app. All right. Well, thanks for the clarification there. Um, buffering bad. So YouTube's act. I guess YouTube. I'm deaf on YouTube app. Yeah, YouTube can be a bit of a pain, I guess. Thank you, Woody. Run a wireless hotspot to a computer if you can. Yeah. Well, I guess anonymity's problem is probably partly due to the fact that he's doing it from his cell phone. So I'm just going to hop on my computer. Was in kitchen cooking, but I'm about done. Well, if you want anonymity, you're more than welcome to join me in the studio here. You're welcome. I just learned this by a user on another stream a few hours ago. Oh my, much better on the PC. Yeah, the PC is usually better unless you're like somewhere like Tug out in the boonies where connections can be kind of bad. Um, but that yeah, so yeah, hopefully soon though I'll start getting guests on here more regularly for you guys, so now I have people to talk to on Friday night. I do the Friday night forum. You'd just be listening to me eat some stir fry. Yeah. All right, let me go off screen for. Wow, so we got past the hour mark, so that's good. Good to know. Yeah, yeah. There's always interesting stuff to find out because, yeah, probably like a lot of times people don't necessarily think a lot about this stuff too from the historical aspect because I know a lot of people when they think of like, for example, Billy Batson Captain Marvel, okay, DC's Captain Marvel. A lot of people may think of him as a DC born character, but he wasn't. He was born with Fawcett. He was a character that DC picked up from Fawcett Comics when when they went bankrupt. In fact, part of the reason they went bankrupt is because for a time there throughout the 40s, Fawcett and DC were in this constant legal battle over Captain Marvel because DC was trying to claim copyright infringement, saying that Captain Marvel, Billy Batson's Captain Marvel, was too close to Superman, even though even though there was a slight difference in they had a lot of the same powers, and the source of their powers was completely different. You could argue that Captain Marvel's powers were actually more magically based because he would draw upon, he'd yell out the word Shazam, and let's see, and that was 6 letters, SH. So he'd get the wisdom of Solomon, the strength of Hercules, um, the endurance of Atlas, um, the power of Zeus, the courage of Achilles, and the speed of Mercury. So, um, let's see. ATC just said something here. We listened to Batgoat making drinks the other. Yeah, that's. Oh, yeah, that's right. We did when Batgoat and you were on there. ATC, you're right. Yes, I don't think. Yeah, so he had forgotten to mute his mic. So yeah, so were there any like questions you guys had on some of the like some of the golden age or silver age stuff? You guys have any questions on some of that information, or maybe you guys want to know more about where certain characters came from? You know, um, are there anything else other than, of course, comics you guys want to talk about, or ask about? Anything in the realms of anime or cartoons or pro wrestling or anything like that? Let's see. Shazam also gave Gomer Pyle his powers over Sergeant Comet, Sergeant Carter. Oh, I don't know. Um, well, I wasn't sure. I didn't know that. Or are you talking? Um, I do know that in the '70s there was a Shazam live action um, series. There was a Shazam ISIS hour back, I think, in like 74, 75, around there. I've been reading Record of Ragnarok lately. It's a manga, and So, D good, humanity versus gods. Yeah, there are a lot of stories out there like that. There are a lot of, I mean, to a certain extent, you can even look at the New Gods saga in DC. That's also kind of that same humanity versus gods kind of storytelling as well. You know. Yeah. Let's see. So yeah, hour and 16 now. Um. Let's see. See what anonymity has to say here. Um. Lubu versus Thor. Adam versus Zeus. And I just finished Jack the Ripper versus Heracles. They do a really good job. Sorry, just a reference. Shazam was an expression often expressed by the. Oh, yeah, okay, I get what you're saying now. Yeah, he'd often go, "Wowie, wow, wow, Shazam!" Right? Is that what you're talking about? Expressed by the character Gomer from Andy Griffith, um, and later on his own show. I now know where he got the expression. Thank you. No problem. Um, Shazam not only was the expression that Billy Batson would yell to get his superpowers from, but it was also the name of the wizard who helped give him those powers. And then, from what I understand, in more recent times, Shazam actually would pass on. Billy Batson would become Shazam, the new Shazam, in modern times, and Freddie Freeman would then take over from being Captain Marvel Jr. to being Captain Marvel. So Goma, ha ha ha! I forgot about the Andy Griffin show. Yeah, Gomer Pyle, of course, played by Jim Neighbors. You know, I mean, you had a few comedic geniuses that came out of the Andy Griffin himself. Of course, he'd go on to drama as well as Matlock. Um, have Don Knotts as Barney Fife, who we'd see later as Ralph Furley, the landlord in the later seasons of Three's Company, and then of course Jim Neighbors, who would go on to his own show of Gomer Pyle USMC, spun off of Andy Griffith. So actually, there was another show that was spun off of Andy Griffith as well. I don't know if you guys knew about this. Mayberry RFD. That was another show that was spun off of Andy Griffith. When he yells Shazam, can he explode himself, or what is up with that? Um, I seen Apocalypse War, and I thought he yelled Shazam to just transform. Um, as I understand it, the light you notice the lightning bolt icon he has on his chest, yeah, and also Black Adam, his arch and one of his arch enemies, also has the power of Shazam. Of course, he now gets it from a different set of deities, but um, the lightning bolt, the lightning bolt represents Zeus's power. You know, Zeus's power is represented by the lightning bolt. So when he calls Shazam, all those powers are coming in the form of the lightning bolt. They're all gathering within the lightning bolt to carry to Billy Batson to transform him into Shazam. I mean, I don't know if you guys saw the Justice League Unlimited episode in which Captain Marvel and Superman fought, and then he kept saying Shazam and kept blasting Superman with the lightning bolt. You see the scarring on Superman's chest from it, because as was noted, I think in the Silver Age, at least as far as I know, the Silver Age version, which was the Earth One version, as well as the post crisis version, Superman was susceptible to magic. That was another one of his weaknesses aside from kryptonite. He was susceptible to magic. So that's another interesting little. I remember watching Murder, She Wrote, and Matlock with my grandma. Yeah, those two shows kind of tend to cater to the older crowd. My dad often watches Murder, She Wrote, Matlock as well. So I miss those times. I remember watching Family Court with my grandma when I was a kid. Now that was more of a staged court show, not like, but still. Oh, had no idea it was related to Zeus. Well, now you know. I remember that one. Isn't Superman weak to magical attacks or something? And I kind of funny how you mentioned that, and I did actually say that right after too. Ah, I did mention that right after. So let's see now. Family Court was another good one though. Yeah, as I said, it was actually wasn't a real court show. It wasn't like People's Court or Judge Judy or anything like that. It was actually more of a scripted court show. It was more of like it was kind of a courtroom drama that was made to look like a courtroom show. So that was kind of an interesting thing. Yeah. Yeah, but as I was saying, like DC, a number of the characters that DC had picked up from Fawcett included the Marvel family, not just Captain Marvel, Billy Batson, but his sister Mary Batson Bromfeld, aka Mary Marvel, and of course their friend Freddie Freeman was Captain Marvel Jr., not to be confused with the Atlanta Braves first baseman. Um, just so you know, they actually had Uncle Marvel too, Uncle Dudley Marvel. Um, And Captain Marvel had a pretty interesting group um, of enemies of rogues as well. Doctor Savannah and the Savannah family, who were their arch enemies. Black Adam, Captain. They actually had a Captain Nazi as one of their enemies at the time. I think they also had a Japanese World War II villain known as Captain Nihon. I think Captain Nihon was actually more of an arch enemy of Captain Marvel Jr. So, um, among some of the other characters, also included Bullet Man. Bullet Man and Bullet Girl, these were people who basically dressed up in like an anti gravity belt with like a bullet, like basically a bullet for a helmet, bullet shaped helmet. Um, you had Minuteman, you had Spy Smasher, Ibis the Invincible. Um, so Uncle Marvel, yeah, yeah, a lot of it. When you look back to the past, you can find a lot of interesting little stories, little tidbits, not just in the comics themselves, but when you look into the people who wrote the comics. I know you guys know I've talked a lot about Wonder Woman's early publication history. I talked quite a bit about William Marston, William Moulton Marston's, and just a lot of and just how much that was influenced on how much that was influenced on like the Commons Code Authority. So, and the OT seems to want to say off subject, just but curious. Did you ever watch the Venture Brothers? No, I never was really into. I never really got into the Adult Swim stuff. You know, you know. Quite honestly, the majority of the Adult Swim cartoons is just a little too crude for my taste. Now, mind you, I've seen some like pretty sultry humor, you know, in anime, and which is more my style. I mean, you know, um, we know about like a lot of the fan service and all that in anime, but also like particularly I've watched my fair share of harem animes, right? One of the constant running gags in those is when like the lone character, usually the male, usually in most harem animes, when the male character accidentally walks in on the female characters usually taking a bath. He just without thought just opens the door and sees them, and they start throwing all kinds of all kinds of stuff at him. Get out, you pervert! Uh, I thought Bullet Man was an Action Man toy. Laugh out loud. Well, there may be a Bullet Man Action Man toy, but what I can tell you, it may not be the same Bullet Man though. But I can. Oh, we have 7 people in here. Hello, seventh person. How are you doing tonight? Wow, we got some people in here. We got some people coming in here. Um, yeah. So, um, yeah. But Bullet Man was a character from back in the 40s that DC did eventually pick up their ATC. Um, Body is clever. Crude is just crude. Yeah, well, to each their own. Venture Brothers is a great shout out to the old school comics and old cartoons. I highly recommend you give it a try sometime if you got some free time. Like I tried some Harvey Birdman before, and I kind of have clicked on like Aqua Teen Hunger Force. As I said, it's just not my particular taste. Venture Brothers is more about the story lines than random humor shows like Family Guy and all that crap. But I just found out it was canceled because Toonami or Cartoon Network is lame and not making money going woke. Yeah, that was actually the other day. I think I may have seen something about that too that I might have mentioned on here. It's way less random than Harsey Birdman and Aqua Teen. Oh yeah. So now we have up to 7 people in here. So I'll make this mention again, even though I know we're running towards the. Oh, we're back down to 6. But just in case anybody would like to join me in the studio, here is the link to the studio. If you would like to join me in there. And actually, something. Hey, Woody, I've noticed you've started becoming a pretty loyal individual here. You're in here pretty regularly, so I'm gonna do something here, and the other guys know what I'm probably about to do here. You're coming in pretty loyally now, so here you go. Well, yeah, I think you guys know what if you prove yourself to be a regular person who comes in pretty regularly, I'll usually I'm probably a little bit more like Tug and um, Woody is a good guy. Yeah. So Woody, you'll see something next time you comment on the next comment. You'll see something. And guys, even though we're kind of more towards the end of the broadcast, if our live stream again, I put the link up if you guys want to join me. Want to join me in the studio here. Um, yeah, yeah. So we're just past the hour and a half mark, and I don't know if you guys. For those of you who might be subscribed to Ricada, I just saw the notification that the 30-minute warning basically that it'll be on in like 30 minutes. Um, so yeah, we've now had as many as 7 people in here tonight. That's cool. We have 6 people in here right now. That's really cool. So yeah, lurkers, feel free to get in on the conversation if you'd like. Um, those of you who might be lurking about, um, always enjoy the conversations. Find out a lot of interesting stuff through these conversations. Just ask Anonymity and Woody and ATC. They can tell you how much I bring the knowledge. Anyways, excuse me a moment because I'm gonna go off screen here for a moment. Um, I think EVS and Raging Golden Eagle are streaming too, among others. So that's probably why Batgoat's not in here. I guess then maybe he's over on their stream. But then for me on a nightly basis, this is pretty much a I usually get about 5 or 6 of you right now. Um, hopefully, hopefully I'll grow and more people will start coming and checking it out. I do appreciate you guys liking and share. Oh, there's Batgoat. Hey, Batgoat. Hey, got in here kind of late. Um, I went over a story about Greg Rucka's son, Elliot Rucka, getting arrested in New York for his participation in BLM riot. And then we've been talking primarily about, hey, Batgoat. Um, and then I've been talking about, we've been talking about like classic comics as well. Explained to Anonymity earlier what I meant when I was saying like golden age and silver age and bronze age and all of that. Um, so yeah. Um, and I don't know if you saw Bat Goat, if you would like, of course. With this being Friday, I of course open up the studio to anybody who wants to join in the conversation with me. So if you'd like to step in and say hi, you're more than welcome to. Zapping on the custom. Uh, let's see. I'm here. Hey, Bat Goat. Hey, Anon. And as you guys notice there, I put if you guys, if any of you want to join me in the studio to chat it up for I guess a few more minutes because we're already past the hour and a half mark. So probably be getting ready to wind everything down, anyways. But I put it out there if you guys wanted to. Um, yeah, I mean, I like doing a lot of these too. Each talk stuff. You know, the hour and 30, coming up on an hour and 37 minutes. What is that link? Like, since I'm on my phone, would it be a call, or how does all that work? Well, okay. What the link is, if you were to click on it, then it would bring you into the studio with me. So it would the link brings you into the studio. What will happen is I'll see your I'll see like your picture here, whether it's you or your icon or whatever. I'll see like a picture of you here. It'll be grayed out, and then if I click it, you'll actually get to come in with me, and we can actually talk back and forth verbally. That's what that link does. That's a link directly into the studio here. I take it you've never actually been invited into a stream chat before, Anna. I mean, I know you're on your computer now, so if you were to click it, then it would just simply bring you into the studio with me, and then I would click your picture, and you'd like actually be in this. You'd actually be part of the stream. It will just go to a website that takes you into the video. You will have YouTube and Streamlabs open at the same time. That's, I guess, a better way of explaining it than maybe I was explaining it. You all, you all could see my sexy face if I want. Yeah, we could. You know. Um. Now I don't know as much about the avatar stuff. I know the other guys here um know probably more about, like, because they usually come in with their avatars. I personally don't, but I don't. I prefer being live, anyways. I prefer everybody see me. Or you can disable camera. That's what I did last week. Oh, so is that how you do it? Is that how you just disable the camera? Nah, I just kind of recently really started using YouTube. Well, thanks, Bat Goat. So all I really have to do, if I just wanted to put up I just wanted to put up an avatar or something like that, I just would disable the camera, just turn off. That wouldn't take me out, right? Wouldn't take me out of the. I don't care if I'm doxxed. I can beat up most people. Uh-huh. Let's see. If you want, you can upload a pic and disable cam. Well, I already have an uploaded pic. It's basically just me sitting here. I'm on my phone again. I'm outside smoke. Oh, okay. Yeah, you might have problems then if you were to try to use the link now then, because yeah, ATC. That's the res size of pics. All right. Well, let me try it. Let's see what. Okay, so you guys can hear me then? Okay, so this is the idea of stop cam, huh? Oh, okay. All right. So all I have to do is just go stop cam, stop cam. Okay, that's good to know. Don't think it matters. Also, on my pick, I don't have a mic or camera. It might have a built-in one. I have headsets though. Okay. Um, yeah, I hear you. Yeah, I guess I do have to upload a pic then for my avatar there. Cool, cool. Probably try to do that at some point. You have to do that. Okay. Well, wow, we're at the 141 mark. Give me. I'm gonna turn off my cam for just a moment. Stop cam. So wow, I can just do that. Then I can just if I'm gonna do something that's not gonna be too appealing on camera, I can just turn the camera off. Then that's. Thank you, Batgoat, for letting me know about that, and thank you as well, ATC. You both kind of made let me know about that. All right. Well, we're coming on a minute 42. Hold on one more time. Sorry, guys. All right, I'm back now. Um, okay, well, we're now just past the 142 mark, so we're kind of getting down to the end here. Are you guys ready for this day in Nietzsche history? That goat just gave me the thumbs up there. Okay, think I think we've had a pretty good conversation going on tonight, so I think it's time to start looking to wrap things up. History. Nietzsche time. Well, we've had Nietzsche time a good portion of this. Talking about classic comics, like that's Nietzsche as well. Dude, the YouTube app sucks right now. Yay! Okay, so let me just review some things here. 2002, 2010, and this is awesome. Okay, so now that I've reviewed all that, um, let's go ahead and today being Friday, September 11th, 2020. Of course, this is also unfortunately the anniversary, the 19th anniversary of Twin Towers um, coming down. So that's kind of a sad thing to have to remember. Many people were killed in that situation. Um, but let's look at some happier stuff that happened on this date in Nietzsche history. Look at some happier stuff. Well, some happy, some kind of sad as well, but here we go. So first off here, on this date in 2002, through their vertical line, the fifth issue of Fables from DC Comic was was went on sale on this date in 2002, which was 18 years ago today. On this date in 2002, the fifth issue of Fables um, went on sale from DC through their vertical imprint. Story was the famous parlor room scene, Sans Parlor. So, as you guys know, the vertical line is kind of the more adult. Yeah, 19. Yeah, for the 9/11 we usually talk about 19 years ago. This one happened a year later, year after that, 18 years ago. Fables. Um, so that that was that. Now let's move on to the next bit of history there. On this date, for the pro wrestling fans in here, on this date in 2010, Mike Shaw passed away from a heart attack at the age of 53. Many of you you guys would most likely know him as either Bastion Booger from his time in the WWF or as Norman the Lunatic from um, from WCW in the late 80s, early 90s. Actually, I would say it's more like the early 90s. He started out up in Canada, started out with Vancouver's NWA All Star Wrestling as Klondike Mike back in the early 80s, would become a major heel in playing kind of pro Iranian character, Makan Singh, in the mid 80s in Stampede Wrestling, and then would eventually find his way to WCW as Norman the Lunatic, later Norman the Maniac, and Trucker Norm. And then he actually had a couple of stints in WWF. Um, first as Friar Ferguson in versus Friar Ferguson in like 1993, and then he'd come back as Bastion Booger. So on this date 10 years ago, Mike Shaw would pass away at the age of 53 from a heart attack. And 2010 is just so nice that we have to look at it twice. Because the other piece of history I found also happened on this date in 2010. R.I.P. Booger. Yeah. Yeah. R.I.P. Booger. Yep. R.I.P. I mean, but you know, Bat Goat. If you remember the character, you saw how big he was. The dude was. I mean, even though he was a professional wrestler and all that, and he used his weight well, he was still probably considered morbidly obese. Can't say I'm too familiar with him, but R.I.P. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, he had, obviously, as I said, he did spend some time in the WWF. Um, no, just a funny name. You know. Anyways, though, on to this last piece of history here. On this date in on this date in 2010, um, Actus Studios released the film Ko Koware Kake no Orgel. Koware Kake no Orgel, which loosely translates as half broken music box. This anime movie was released on this date from Actus Studios on this date in 2010, 10 years ago. So that is all that happened in this date in Niche history. Um, but yeah, so how did you guys like the stream tonight? How did you guys like the stream tonight? How we talked a lot about like classic comics and stuff and learning a bit more about the past, about comics history. I was only here at the end, but great stream. Yeah, thank you for coming in. Cool. Yep. Always a pleasure. Yeah, now if we can get some more people in here, that would really, increase the dialogue and all that. Get more people interested in this stuff. That would really be cool as well. You know. Anyways, guys, I'm gonna go ahead and wrap this up now. We're almost at the 2 hour mark, so we almost hit 2 hours tonight. So that's a good stream. Happy, as always. I'm happy you guys join me. I'm always happy to share the wealth of knowledge that I've gained. I always look forward to sharing it with you guys and discussing. Peace, y'all. Yep. And I shall see you guys on Monday. Couple little notes here. One, don't forget DC Fandom is going on tomorrow to Sunday, 10 a.m. tomorrow to 10 a.m. Sunday. Also, as I understand it, I don't think the Knuckleheads are going to be streaming tomorrow because they streamed today. So just be aware of that for those of you who do go to streams regularly. And I hope to see you guys back here on Monday. Also, I will probably be uploading a couple of profile videos over the weekend. One will be, of course, the VA profile on Sunday. Tomorrow, I'll probably try to get my latest in the squared circle calendar um, up. So I will hope to see you guys. Thank you for the stream and have a good one, everyone. Have a good weekend, guys. I will look forward to seeing you guys back here on Monday. Bye.